mais um tempo, né? Por mais um tempo. Então, galera, já deixa aí o seu like, se inscreva aqui no canal e ative as notificações desse Live in Planet 2, né? Live in Planet 2. Já que o Live in Planet 1 tivemos problemas com um bloqueio que o YouTube deu lá no canal, então não estamos fazendo live por enquanto no Live in Planet, mas temos esse canal agora aqui, o Live in Planet 2, que você pode se inscrever aqui se você não é inscrito. Podemos também fazer transmissões ao vivo, como esse evento histórico hoje, né? Hoje é 18 de fevereiro e é muito interessante que a NASA, por enquanto, é o único a completar a sua missão em Marte, pôr algo em Marte no mundo. Então não existe outro, nem a Rússia, nem a Europa, a ESA, né, conseguiu colocar algo em terra, em solo marciano. E a NASA já é a terceira vez que ela vai tentar, e nessa vez agora, colocar um robô em Marte, né, galera? Então nós vamos aqui transmitir, nós estamos aqui no site oficial aqui, no YouTube da NASA, que nós iremos acompanhar diretamente aqui. Por enquanto vamos bater um papo aqui, conversar. Se você não é inscrito aqui, se inscreva. Quem está aqui no chat, deixa eu ver aqui. Anne, boa tarde para você. Então já vai chegando e vai deixando seu like. Nós vamos ficar com essa live até quando pousar ali mesmo o Rover, né, em Marte. Vai ser interessante ver esse momento histórico ali, onde um robô, né, pode pousar em Marte novamente. E esse Rover, além de procurar vida em Marte, também tem um helicóptero acoplado em seu interior que poderá também fazer voos mais rápidos de um ponto a outro, o que será interessante também. Ok, galera? Então, galera, você já deixa seu like, se inscreva aqui no canal, ative as notificações desse canal, né? Temos o Live in Planet oficial, e se você quer se inscrever também lá, se inscreva lá no canal do Live in Planet oficial, né? Se você está chegando aqui agora, compartilhe essa live, vamos batendo um papo aqui, conversando, tirando dúvidas de vocês. Se você tem alguma dúvida e queira perguntar aqui no chat, nós vamos responder para você, e vamos acompanhar até quando o Rover estiver lá em solo marciano, as primeiras imagens e tudo mais. Ok? Muito interessante, né? Muito interessante mesmo. Então, qual que é a missão desse Perseverance, né? A Perseverance é um robô muito completo, né, que a NASA construiu e pegou as experiências dos outros rovers que já também esteve ali em Marte e ainda está, para para acoplar nesse novo rover da Perseverance. Então, tudo que faltava nos outros, esse agora está completo. Tem tudo ali, né? E vai ser mais detalhado as imagens, né? As substâncias que ali tem ali no solo marciano, eles vão fazer os melhores testes. E o outro modo interessante é que vai trazer, tem uma maneira de trazer rochas de Marte para a Terra, para analisar aqui. Isso vai ser muito interessante também. Então tem um módulo ali no rover que poderá, assim que coletar material, pedras ou algo assim, trazer essas pedras para a Terra, o que será muito interessante também, né? Então, galera, aqui diz que a missão Mars 2020 chega a Marte hoje, né? Vai ser pelo menos lá perto das 5h50, 5h55, já deve estar pousando em solo marciano, né? Deve estar pousando em solo marciano, o que vai ser muito interessante. Antes de tudo, se você está aí na live, vocês estão ouvindo bem, está precisando de áudio, o áudio está ruim, deixem um comentário aí para a gente se sintonizar aqui essa live, né? Esse canal não tem tantos inscritos como o Live em Planet 1, mas assim, é uma forma de divulgar também esse canal, que é interessante, quase nos mesmos padrões que o Live in Planet, né? E vai trazendo também, agregando informações aqui para o canal, ok? Então a missão Mars 2020 da NASA chega a Marte hoje, quinta-feira, 18, depois de viajar 470 milhões de quilômetros por quase 7 meses, transportando o rover Perseverance e o pequeno helicóptero Ingenuity. E eles buscarão sinais de vida antiga e coletarão amostras do solo para o futuro envio à Terra. Então, olha lá, como eu disse para vocês, eles vão coletar amostras do solo e vão trazer aqui para a Terra para analisar mais detalhadamente, que não houve com os outros rovers. Agora a NASA pensou em pegar uma rocha de Marte e trazer para a Terra para análise, o que é interessante nesse... muito longe, né? Então, tá bom o som, dá para ouvir, tá alto, tá baixo, o som de fundo tá muito alto, quer que abaixe, como vocês estão vendo aí? Deixe o comentário aí, para que nós possamos fazer uma live gostosa, uma live que todos possam escutar bem, e tiver alguma dúvida, nós possamos esclarecer para vocês, ok? Então eles andaram 470 milhões de quilômetros, isso viajando a 80 mil quilômetros por hora, né? É muita coisa. 480 milhões de quilômetros é muito longe. Então gastou 7 meses andando a 80 mil quilômetros por hora para chegar aí em Marte. O interessante é que agora nós estamos vendo, né, o Perseverance, mas logo em maio a China também vai colocar um rover com os próprios recursos da China, sem recursos de nenhum outro país, vão tentar colocar em solo marciano também. Então vai ter uma concorrência ali entre os robôs da NASA e o robô da China, né? Quem que vai ser o ganhador aí do prêmio de achar vida primeiro em Marte, que é interessante também, né? Então vamos torcer aí, porque é para que dê tudo certo para eles acharem algo interessante em Marte. E por que esse interesse em explorar planetas, explorar Marte? É que a vida da Terra vai ter um limite, né? Vai chegar um ponto que não vai ter condições mais de suportar tanta gente, pode haver um colapso, algo assim. Então a humanidade está procurando lugares que possam ser habitados, porque caso ocorra algo, nós possamos, a humanidade, ir para aquele ponto. E Marte é, sem dúvida, um dos melhores pontos, furando a Lua também, que a Lua também tem grandes possibilidades de haver, de criar vida, de ter vida ali, fazer um planejamento, criar colônias que possam dar condições do ser humano viver ali também. E a Lua é mais próxima. Mas Marte já tem uma semelhança com o nosso planeta, o que pode também ajudar ainda mais, né? Então é esse o objetivo principal da NASA e dos outras nações, né? China, procurar um local em que haja condições de vida para que as pessoas possam, se algo acontecer, ter vida em outro planeta, em outro local, né? Se caso acontecer algo aqui na Terra. Ok? Se você que está chegando aí agora, deixe aí seu like, né? Vamos acompanhar esse rover, esse pouso do rover até a hora que for pousar realmente, que vai ser às 5h55, quase 6 horas da tarde, vai ocorrer o pouso do rover. E há chance também de não dar certo, né? Porque tem os 7 minutos de terror que eles falam, a NASA, que pode dar tudo errado e trabalhos de anos e anos acabaram assim de uma hora para outra. Ok? Então, tudo isso eles levam em conta, né? Esses detalhes assim de perigo de não poder pousar em Marte, algo assim, também eles levam em conta. E o que pode acontecer também, né? Já pensou? Não der certo, hein? Não der certo e anos de trabalho ser jogado fora. Vamos ver ali como que está. Ali eles estão ainda conversando, falando como que vai ser essa chegada desse rover em Marte, né? As cientistas, né? Estão ali se comunicando, falando, é tudo em inglês, né? E eles estão dizendo que a possibilidade com esse rover agora, esse novo rover Perseverance, é muito maior, né? A chance de encontrar vida, de encontrar coisas que possam levar a evidência de vida em Marte maior do que antes. Que esse rover é muito mais completo do que os outros, né? Ainda traz um helicóptero ainda para fazer voos em Marte. Então vai ser a primeira vez que algo sem ser OVNI, né? Vai que tem OVNI em Marte, ele não sabe, que pode voar em Marte, né? Então vai ser interessante também. E aqui diz que depois de se aproximar da órbita marciana, a espaçonave dará início a uma perigosa manobra de entrada, essa aí que eu estava falando para vocês, é perigosa. A NASA fala 7 minutos de terror, porque ali você perde controle, você perde sinais com Marte. A espaçonave dará início a uma perigosa manobra de entrada, descida e pouso no planeta vermelho. A tal etapa acontecerá sem qualquer intervenção de equipe e de comando devido ao delay dos sinais de rádio. Então ali o robô, né, a espaçonave já está programada para fazer todos os comandos de descida sem nenhuma interferência aqui da Terra. E isso tem que ser detalhadamente feito certinho, senão uma coisa fora, algo errado, já era, perde tudo. Então tem que ser nos mínimos detalhes, como se diz lá na escolinha do professor, nos mínimos detalhes, né? Daí a nave diz que mergulhará na atmosfera marciana a 20.000 km por hora, mas terá a ajuda de um paraquedas e um motor que reduzirão a velocidade para cerca de 2 km por hora. Você imagina 20.000 km por hora, a freada vai ser tão brusca que a nave vai frear a 2 km por hora. E isso vai deixar a nave bem devagarzinho descendo ali. Em seguida acontece a manobra de guindaste aéreo, quando o estágio de descida usará 3 cabos para carregar o rover, pousando-a suavemente. A NASA divulgou uma animação mostrando como isso acontece. Então vamos olhar aqui para vocês verem como que vai ser, como que vai acontecer isso, a chegada do rover, né, até Marte, e a descida até solo marciano. Então se prepare e observe aqui como que vai ser essa chegada aqui. Olha lá, ó, 18 de fevereiro. Ó, quando está chegando a entrada é como a Terra, né? É como um asteroide. Daí abre-se os paraquedas, ele cai a 2 km por hora e tem aí os propulsores que darão força para o robô, e assim sucessivamente. Está em solo marciano. E ele vai estar pronto para sua missão aí em Marte. Interessante. Interessante essa entrada. Como nós podemos ver aqui, vou passar novamente para vocês. Nesse momento ele está a 20.000 km por hora. Quando vai chegar em terra, tem como um meteoro, né, que vai transpassar a atmosfera ali de Marte, e ocorre esse atrito, né, e sai, é como se fosse a Terra, não, e nesse momento que eles não têm nenhum contato com a Terra, abre-se o paraquedas e vai até a cratera que eles estão querendo ali em Marte, né? Então é isso aí. Daí tá lá. Aqui disse sobreviver aos 7 minutos de terror como delicado procedimento é conhecido devido aos riscos que o equipamento corre. A missão pousará na cratera Jezero por volta das 17 horas e 55 minutos, horário de Brasília. Ok? O local da chegada consiste em uma bacia seca de um antigo lago de Marte, onde pode haver sinais de vida microbiana do passado. E você vai assistir aqui conosco, né? Terá imagens ao vivo, vamos lá acompanhar.
Space launch. And I definitely feel like watching the launch invoked that sense of well, inspiration mixed with anticipation, along with that rumble in my chest.
That's very inspirational, and I'm sure that you have had many conversations with your classmates since this all began. Now, what kind of questions have they asked you?
I got some people asking me about what this helicopter is, what this rover is, what are they actually going to do. So I love that this whole experience sparked a greater interest in the mission in my community.
Why do you think it's so important for kids to be inspired by space exploration?
Because space is the future, and kids are the future. Learning about space and watching the story of humanity spread to the stars happen is watching the future happen and seeing history unfold.
The best way to keep our home safe and protect our planet is to learn from the worlds around it. So I think it's really important for the next generation of scientists to be engaged in that type of exploration to make our home the best place it can be.
Now, speaking of the future, what has your life been like since naming the rover and helicopter? Has it sparked any future aspirations for the two of you?
Oh man, I am currently applying to a science and technology school for high school. I'm hoping for a NASA internship sometime along the way, with my ultimate goal being to join the incredible team of scientists and engineers who are about to make this happen.
This whole experience has definitely shown me that I want to go into the space industry. I came home from Florida, did all my college applications, and checked aerospace engineering on all the boxes. I mean, the whole time we were there, I was thinking, why would anyone want to do anything else?
So true, and the best of luck to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Alex and Vanessa.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Now, your essays, as well as the top 155 finalist essays, are riding on the Perseverance rover, along with nearly 11 million of the names from all over the world that were submitted before launch. And if you miss the chance to get your name on Perseverance, then you will get another chance to reserve a spot on the next mission to Mars. So make sure that you sign up now at mars.nasa.gov for your boarding pass. As virtual celebrations are happening all over the globe, let's take a look at some of your submissions on our social channels, showing us how you're celebrating the Perseverance landing right now. And remember to hashtag Countdown to Mars and send those in. We would love to show them off. Look at these kids. They are getting so excited. Everyone's watching it. A lot of classrooms are watching it. Oh, and great, someone did a Lego version of Perseverance, which is awesome. It looks fantastic. We love getting all your pictures out there. We've gotten a lot of artwork from kids, which has been great. I know I have a 9-year-old John at home, and he loves to draw the rover. And look at that. That is awesome. That's better than anything I could bake, that's for sure. Perseverance in a cake. That looks so great. Delicious. I want to get into that. Another great send-in from David Bowie Reel. Thank you so much for your submissions. Remember, hashtag Countdown to Mars. We love to see how you're celebrating. Now, you might know our next guest from shows like Emily's Wonder Lab. Joining me now is Emily Calandrelli. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Now, you are very passionate about getting kids interested in science and space exploration. Why do you think kids are so excited about space?
Well, I know the reason I'm excited about space, and I think it's the same reason that many others are excited about space, and it's that the people in the space industry work to answer two of the biggest questions that humans have ever asked. Are we alone in the universe, and where did we all come from? And by sending a rover to Mars, we are gaining evidence for the answers to these questions, more evidence than we ever had before, and I think that's so exciting.
It is, and I know you get loads of interesting questions from kids. Have you gotten any about Mars specifically?
Oh my gosh, yes. Everybody loves Mars. It's in movies and books and TV shows, and everybody loves Mars. So one of the things that I get asked a lot is that, it's called the red planet. Why is it red? Well, it's red because it's literally rusty. The top layer of soil on Mars has iron oxide in it, or rust, and rust has that brownish red color. So it's red because it's rusty. And also because it's red, they ask, is it red hot? Is it really hot on Mars? And well, no, actually, it's colder than the Earth. It's farther away from the sun. So as you would imagine, it's a little bit colder than the Earth. It also has a really thin atmosphere. So the heat that it does have, it has a hard time keeping in. And so it's a little bit colder. But then I also get asked, what would I weigh on Mars? That's a really fun question. So on Mars, it's a little bit smaller than the Earth, so the gravity there is weaker. It's about 3/8 the gravity that we have here on Earth. So if you weighed 100 pounds here on Earth, you'd weigh 38 pounds on Mars, or 100 kilograms here on Earth, 38 kilograms on Mars.
Those are all super fun. I think even some adults want to know the answers to those questions, Emily. Now, why do you think it's so important to educate kids about science and give them that great foundation?
Well, science is the language of nature, and learning about science and learning how to think like a scientist means you are learning how to systematically seek out truth in the world. You are learning the scientific method, you're learning how to be a critical thinker, and honestly, those skills are great for whatever you end up wanting to do in life.
True. If you want to be a scientist or an opera singer, that holds true. And what are you most excited about today?
I mean, humans are launching a robot to Mars. That doesn't happen every day. I think in all of the hecticness that is going on today and all of the nerves, everyone can take a moment to sit back and remember that we live in a time when humans have the ability to send a robot to another planet, and that's so cool to me.
It is very cool, Emily. Take a deep breath. Thanks for joining us here.
Lots of ways to ride along with us to Mars. Now put yourself right into the action now with our Perseverance photo booth. You can pose next to the rover, place yourself in our mission control, and even see what you might look like taking a selfie on the red planet. There, you'll also have a chance to sign up to send your name to Mars on NASA's next flight to the red planet. It's all available at go.nasa.gov/Mars 2020 Toolkit. And joining us now is JPL Chief Engineer and Landing Veteran Rob Manning. He will be breaking down key moments coming up, and very few people know more about landing on Mars than Rob, going back to the Pathfinder mission in 1997. Thanks for joining us today, Rob.
Thank you very much, Rick, for having me here. And what a wonderful experience. What a wonderful day for a beautiful day in California. We're just also excited here, anxious, worried, but very hopeful.
Rob, I have a question for you. There is a landing tradition at JPL that involves eating peanuts for good luck. Can you tell us how did that start?
Yes, it started in the mid-1960s. What happened was we had a series of missions that had failures. The Ranger program in the early 1960s, one after another, failed. And what happened was, one day, a fellow by the name of Dick Wallace on Ranger number 7, on the 7th attempt, decided to bring peanuts to the ops area just before the launch. And guess what? That mission worked. Now, we're not supposed to be too superstitious. We're engineers and scientists after all. But we love tradition, and ever since then, before launch and before critical events like entry, descent, landing, we have brought out peanuts and shared them with the team. And it's been really a wonderful little experience, and so this is something we're doing right now, and it's something that we just can't help ourselves. It's just part of the experience.
Well, speaking of the experience, how did the Perseverance team keep the tradition alive this year?
Well, this year we're passed out little packets of peanuts to the team, and they can sneak one peanut in their mouth as part of to keep the tradition alive. But you know, this is part of the COVID experience, but we can't leave this one undone. So this is what we're doing, and this is going to help us land safely.
All right, thanks, Rob. I have some questions for you a little later on, but we're heading back to Swati Mohan, who is part of the landing team. She'll be calling out key milestone and events as they happen from Mission Control, so let's listen in right now.
So right now we're still about 20 minutes from entry, and the EL phase is giving a last-minute confirmation of what will be happening in the upcoming changes to the vehicle, just to remind the team.
This will allow us to steer our trajectory as we make our way through the atmosphere. This is one of the things that allowed MSL, the Curiosity rover, to land where it did. And we're depending on the same type of entry guidance this time around to help get us very close to our target. As we make our way through entry, finish our guided entry profile, we'll do a maneuver called heading alignment, where we point toward the target and get ready to deploy the parachute. But before we deploy the parachute, we need to get rid of a set of balance masses that have been giving us a center of gravity, or CG offset, throughout the guided entry phase. So these are called the entry balance masses. We also call this maneuver SUFR, S-U-F-R, or straighten up and fly right. So we'll go ahead and eject those masses when we get a trigger from the GNC system telling us that we're at the appropriate range to the target to do so. As soon as we deploy those, we will no longer have a CG offset, and we'll be ready to deploy the parachute 17 seconds later.
Right where the Perseverance team is sitting now, what's in store for them as we approach landing?
I'm going to hold here for EO prep as we're about to start that anchor.
Copy, piece 2. And activity, please call that out when it's ready. Copy, flight.
All right. Now, Rob, you've been right where the Perseverance team is sitting now. What's in store for them as we approach landing?
Well, this is the nail-biting time. Fortunately, we still have ones and zeros coming, but very soon, as we approach cruise stage separation, the transmitter on this rover we've been using all the way to get to Mars is going to be turned off. So we will lose our ability to see ones and zeros. But the good thing is, once the cruise stage is gone, there's another radio that will continue transmitting a tone, so that, like a flashlight, that will allow us to at least see that the vehicle is still on, and that color of that flashlight tells us a little bit what state the rover's in. But soon after that, it won't be very long before we'll be able to hear more ones and zeros coming from the spacecraft. So this is a really exciting time, and it's just important to remind people this is there's a lot that can go wrong in a day like today. There are thousands of things that have to go right.
Yeah, we had success in the past landing on Mars. You'd think it gets easier, but it really doesn't. Why is it still so difficult?
Well, it's because it's involved thousands and thousands of things, hundreds of thousands of lines of code. There's 79 pyrotechnic devices. Each have to work perfectly. One critical wire short, or one key thing mechanism that doesn't work or breaks, and it's mission over. And so it's and it's very easy. We're human beings. We're not perfect. Mistakes can be made. We count on each other to find our own mistakes, and we work very hard to learn from the mistakes of the past. We've had many failures. Remind people, roughly around half of the missions to Mars over history have failed, and so it's that could happen today too. Even though we've had a nice, wonderful string of successes in the United States, it's still still a bit of a gamble that we have hoped that we have erred in the side of luck, and we've stacked the deck and loaded the dice to make this thing succeed. But if we do fail, and something bad happens today, I can tell you we're going to learn it. We'll have the data that tell us what happened. We'll know why. We'll figure it out. And if we are allowed, we will pick ourselves up and get us back on the horse. And if Congress and NASA allow, we will try again. As we always do, we will learn from our mistakes.
And what are the possible scenarios we could be looking at today?
Well, there's things like one of the key stressful elements for all of us is parachute inflation. But just even separating from the cruise stage is a pretty major event. Lots of devices have to work properly. Certainly, the heat shield separation, getting the descent engine started. There's no less than 16 rocket motors that have to work. 8 to control during entry, another 8 to control it during landing. I said it's a lot of stuff, and it all has to work. And guess what? We haven't done this before with this vehicle ever. This is its first attempt to actually land. We can't try this on Earth. We can't we don't have test pilots to try it out on this planet before the big show. So this vehicle is doing it for the first time. We've done the best testing we can do in bits and pieces, but it's as best as we can do. But I think our team is up to it. This team is the best. It's a diverse, intelligent, amazing group of people. People from all over the world who worked on this, not just here in California, but all over NASA, contributors from aerospace, universities, countries around the world. It is just an incredible, remarkable engineering achievement, and I am just so proud of this team.
Thanks, Rob. Now, let's listen back into Mission Control.
Flight, we're about 14 minutes from entry interface. The vehicle is currently preparing the heat rejection system that has kept the thermal system cool inside the air shell for about the last 6 months. This will allow the spacecraft to more easily cut the line in upcoming cruise stage separation, which is under 4 minutes now.
We have now enabled the Rover Pyro bus.
That's the pyrotechnic system that's
We're powering off the cruise stage devices.
And these are the things in the cruise stage that we no longer need. With the pyrotechnic system working, we can explode the devices.
The vehicle is preparing for the upcoming cruise stage separation in about 3 minutes 15 seconds by powering off all the devices on the cruise stage in order that they can be safe once the cruise stage is jettisoned.
This cruise stage has been very reliable.
We are firing our first pyros to vent the HRS liquid and gas.
has been the coolant that's kept their vehicle from getting too hot on the way to Mars. We have to vent it into space. And so this is one of the first major events that take place as part of entry, descent, landing.
The HRS vent anchor is complete.
Yes.
We will see the next anchor in approximately 3 minutes.
Okay.
We are currently 12.5 minutes from entry interface. We are coming upon cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
What's happening now, Rob?
Okay, well, we're just waiting. The rover is completely in charge. It's doing all the things we've taught it how to do. It's all built into the software. We've tested it over and over and over again. This team has spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, testing this thing for years. And so this is really the culmination of all that work. So this vehicle is getting ready to push that cruise stage away. Once it gets pushed away, the entry system with the rover inside, with the rover still in charge, is going to get ready to take the vehicle, turn it to the right orientation, and aim it to Mars, and prepare for entering the atmosphere. This won't be long. Be prepared for this event.
We're about 1.5 minutes from cruise stage separation. About 11 minutes, 20 seconds from entry interface.
Okay, so it's about 10 minutes from cruise stage separation until entering the top of the atmosphere. From then out and out, things happen
We're
fast.
switching to MFSK tones. Telemetry will have stopped.
Telecom is confirming that the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive real-time information until about 9-10 minutes from now, once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter starts relaying information from Perseverance. We are under 1 minute from cruise stage separation, about 10.5 minutes from entry interface.
It's getting exciting. I have to admit, I am quite anxious, but very hopeful that this machine is going to do what we asked it to do.
You're seeing the heartbeat tones.
Okay, that means that there's no more ones and zeros coming. It's just the vehicle telling us it's still alive.
We're continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation. We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft.
We're off on a good start.
In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, so now the vehicle's on its own. It's turning itself into the direction of facing the heat shield toward Mars, and will eventually hitting the top of the atmosphere. We're not far away. This is going to go very quickly from here on out.
That's confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating the cruise stage separation. We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun. At this point, the spacecraft is trying to stop its spin from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the two balance masks that have kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We are about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, the vehicle is pointed in the right direction. Thrusters are warmed up and doing their job. And now we've spun down from the 2 revolutions per minute that the vehicle had the whole way to Mars as a spin-stabilized spacecraft. And then from here on out, it's going to just be a bullet, and it's going to control its orientation and attitude via rockets on the back of that back shell.
Points carrier lock. Sorry, the DTE from Radio Science from Green Bank reports carrier lock. You see the carrier on the downlink.
Flight level 1.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, and now we wait. As soon as we get to the top of the atmosphere, it will be very quickly, which is the entry point. It won't be very long before the atmosphere will start getting thicker and thicker. It's going very quickly at a fairly steep angle of 15 degrees into the atmosphere, and as it starts to slow down.
Just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming it to Earth in near real time. There are a few expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Okay, what we're looking for now is Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should be in view soon of our vehicle and be able to listen to ones and zeros coming from a separate radio that's really designed to talk between spacecraft.
MRO reports the electro radio is powered on, ready to receive signals from the lander.
Okay. MRO is ready and able and waiting to hear from our rover.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight level 1
from entry interface.
We don't need these ones and zeros, as Swati said, but to land safely, but we really need it for our own health and well-being today to keep our nerves in control. But
around this time, a second spacecraft, Maven, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
Okay. Very soon we'll be getting ones and zeros, I hope. from our radio on the rover. The entry interface is nothing more than just an arbitrary place in the sky that we've defined to be above the atmosphere. But from that point on, there's definitely atmosphere, and above it there isn't.
We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
So the tones can tell us whether something's bad or not is happening. So far the heartbeat is doing well. So the vehicle thinks it's in good shape to land, which is a great sign.
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry. We are 1 minute from entry interface.
MROs are in receive mode.
We have confirmation that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars.
Confirm your jet data flow.